new report. This is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. 17,000 dead Americans. Actually, the number that they're calculating, this was a new study that was published in the medical journal Biomedicine and Pharmacology, Pharmacotherapy, excuse me, estimates 16,999 Americans died from taking hydroxychloroquine and Ivermectin when they had COVID. It turns out that, and this is totally wild, hydroxychloroquine actually reduces your white cell count. Your white cells are the elements in your blood, the cells in your blood that attack and fight infections, including viruses. So if you have a viral disease and you take hydroxychloroquine, it actually reduces your immune response. It reduces your ability to fight the disease. And the study says the treatment was found to have a strong association with heart issues. The same results have been confirmed by researchers in France across six countries. The use of the drug with COVID-19 patients increased the rate of deaths. Overall, patients who were administered hydroxychloroquine were 11% more likely to die than those who did not receive hydroxychloroquine. So Ron DeSantis' Florida Surgeon General, they bought 1 million doses of hydroxychloroquine from Israel and stockpiled it. And now, according to Florida, they're down to just a few thousand doses. So they've been killing people in Florida. 87,000 people have died of COVID-19 in Florida so far. They've got one of the worst COVID death rates in the country. And it's continuing. It's continuing. So, what can you say? Thousands and thousands of deaths as a result of Donald Trump, basically gaslighting people. Keeping up with vaccinations, by the way, greatly increases the probability that you will never get long COVID, or put another way, decreases your chances of getting long COVID. I mean, the whole point of the vaccination is to avoid getting COVID. But right now, COVID is exploding in the United States. This is predicted. I mean, back in November, we had Eric Feigelding, or was it in December? A month or so ago, I guess December, we had Dr. Eric Feigelding on the program, and he said, the 2 weeks after the new year, you're going to see the absolute peak of COVID, because the Christmas holidays, the New Year's parties, all the travel, all this stuff, it's just, it's turning the entire country into a giant COVID petri dish. They are estimating that fully 1/3 of all Americans this month will have, or in December and January, will have become infected either the first time or a repeat infection with COVID. 1/3 of all Americans. In the last week of December, hospital admissions for COVID-19 exceeded 29,000 a week. Deaths were up 10% week over week. Now, the estimates of long COVID run from 7.5% of people who get COVID up to 41% of people who get COVID. But here's where it gets really interesting. This was a study of 775,931 people across 32 different studies. And what they found was that those people who had had 2 vaccine doses, just 2, reduced their chances of long COVID by 36%. Those who had had 3 doses reduced their chances of long COVID by 68%. Now, there was a second study that involved 589,000 people. This was in Sweden, where they've got a national healthcare system. They can look at this kind of stuff. Those people who'd had a single vaccine were 21% less likely to develop long COVID. 2 doses of the vaccine reduced your chances of long COVID. And keep in mind, long COVID can mean lifetime disability. I mean, it can be so severe, some people just never get out of bed and just basically die in bed ultimately. Other people are just so disabled, so crippled by long COVID that they can't work any longer. They go on disability, whatever. 1 vaccine, 21% lower rate of long COVID. 2 vaccines, 59% reduction in long COVID. 3 or more doses reduce the chances of long COVID by a whopping 73%. So, and they're saying this spike will peak in the next week with an astounding 2 million infections a day. 2 million people are going to get COVID in the United States every single day this week. And by the time it's done, nearly a third of Americans will have contracted COVID-19 either for the first time or repeat infection. This is, I'm quoting from a piece by Mark Sumner over at Daily Kos titled, Keeping Up with Vaccinations Greatly Decreases Chance of Long COVID. And he's, citing these studies. So get your damn vaccine. And by the way, the new vaccine, the most recent vaccine, is the only one that has in it what's it called? Omicron, the Omicron variants, which JN1 or whatever this new one is a it's a variation on that. So it increases your chances that you won't get COVID.